In the beginning of my life, I lived in a cute town near Ottawa that had a beautiful church. Its bells would chime every Sunday morning, filling our town with a sound that was so peaceful it felt like magic. While my religious parents were in that church, they were praying deeply. It was in this holy place that my faith in God began to grow, thanks to a Christian education. But as time went on, the once clear lines of my faith started to get fuzzy, and doubt began to creep into my beliefs. Life's problems and difficulties caused a flood of doubt in me. I would scream, "Lord Jesus, if you are really here with us, show yourself to me," when things were at their worst. Destiny planned a deep meeting with the divine for me when I was 25 years old. It changed my life and got rid of any doubts I still had. Like a lot of young women today, I became obsessed with how I looked and fell into the trap of enjoying myself in the mirror. As time went on, I became more and more unhappy, and I became obsessed with the idea of reaching an impossible ideal of thinness. At age 21, this was the start of my dangerous trip into the world of anorexia nervosa. For the sake of an ideal body, I gave up meals, and my days became a repetitive routine of not eating much, even though I knew it was bad for my health. The false sense of control it gave me seemed like a good price to pay for vanity. In the wild dreams of youth, the search for physical perfection often took precedence over the significance of genuine well-being. My body slowly died, turning into a ghost of what it used to be. By the time I was 25, anorexia had really taken hold of me and made my body more like a shell, and every bite of food was a fight against the gnawing void of hunger. Even the smallest tasks became huge problems to solve. Even though I could hear people calling for medical help, I was in the middle of a storm that I had made myself. I was stuck between hope and fear, and I couldn't decide what to do. The thought of being freed from this problem was appealing, but the thought of change was scary. In the depths of my soul, a melody of opposing feelings played out, leaving me adrift in rough water. I felt like I was in a prison where no one could see my problems because I was all by myself. I put myself in exile and walked through a barren landscape of despair, a lone traveler finding my way through the winding hallways of my own pain. In the middle of my inner fights, I stood on the edge of a chasm that separated life from death. I found stability in the unwavering love of those closest to me during the never-ending storm of pain. Their steadfast love and fervent prayers helped me find my way as darkness grew around me. Even though the feelings of hopelessness were trying to grab me, I kept going because my faith was strong. Each prayer I whispered in the deepest parts of my heart showed how determined I was to keep going. Even though I begged very hard, the cloud of suffering hung over me, pulling me deeper into a pit of weakness every day. As the illness got worse, I felt more and more alone, and my world became a shadow of what it used to be. In the middle of the night, when the darkness suffocated me like a blanket, I felt a strong wave of pain. Each hard breath made the fragile nature of life more clear. I was filled with fear, and each brief moment was marked by the constant passing of time. In my loneliness and hopelessness, I felt like I was lost at sea in a rough sea of pain. During these very dark times, the line between worlds seemed to get thinner. I felt like I was about to have a profound realization, and my awareness rose above the limits of physical existence. With my newfound freedom, I looked with awe at how fragile and weak I was as a human being, a mere wisp in the grand scheme of things. The shadow of my pain remained even in this ethereal state. Still, in the middle of all the doubt, a tiny bit of hope began to shine and lead me to the unknown depths of the afterlife. In the heavenly world, where the meadows went on forever, I felt the peaceful presence of my beloved grandmother. Her beautiful face, which hadn't been damaged by the passing of time, made me feel better. There was knowing to her beauty and youth, which showed how gracious her soul was. As I looked at her, I knew that even though life on earth was hard, I could find comfort in the arms of those who had died before me. Their appearance gave people hope as darkness closed in around them. As a figure came out of the bright haze, my heart jumped with excitement as I held my grandmother's hand. His presence gave off a kindness that was beyond what humans could understand. As soon as our eyes met in that holy moment, I felt a flood of strong emotions. There were lots of happy tears, like rain that feeds dry land. It was him, Jesus, who is the personification of God's love and kindness, and the source of hope in a world filled with sadness. His look brought me a deep sense of peace, as if all the problems I was having in this world were taken away. With shaking lips, I let out all of my pain by telling of the scary journey that had brought me to this holy meeting. His answer, which was a symphony of comfort and kindness, wrapped around me like a warm hug and healed the wounds in my broken soul. When I was with him, the bands of fear and doubt fell away, and I felt like I belonged and was accepted. Our talk took place under the endless blue sky. His words were wise and kind. I felt a deep connection, an unspoken link formed by having been through the same things. When I looked into his eyes, I saw the infinite depths of kindness and understanding. It was proof of love that has no limits. Even though the conversation we had was only a small part of the grand fabric of eternity, it left an indelible mark on my soul and gave me hope as the darkness grew. As he said goodbye and spread his arms in a blessing, I felt a strong sense of strength and determination wash through me. When I came back to the world of the living, I was tucked away in my earthly form, the memories of that meeting with the gods still echoing in my heart. Even though the memory of that divine world was like a dream that was slowly fading, its essence was etched in my soul and would help me through the hard times that were to come. Following that, I went through a miraculous change inside myself, which was proof of the healing touch of God's love. As time went on, life's threads rewound themselves, and the pallor of sickness gave way to the flush of health. As the sun rose, I knew I had been given a second chance, a chance to live life to the fullest, with thanks and humility. In the history of my journey, that holy meeting stands as a light of hope and proof of the infinite depths of divine love that go beyond human boundaries. Every step I take, even when the road ahead is hard, I know that I am never alone. The bright hand of grace will always be with me, showing me the way even on the darkest nights. When I got back to Earth, I felt moved to tell my mother about this deep experience. I did this because I wanted to share the truth that I had learned in the afterlife. She responded by saying she didn't believe it, and her doubt came from the limits of reason and the real world. Even though I tried very hard to explain how real my experience was, she didn't believe me. Her faith was firmly rooted in the present moment. To the heart of my being, it was a blow that showed me how far apart faith and reason can be. Because she didn't believe me, I took the path of silence, which was a quiet sign of how strongly I believed what I was saying, even though I was surrounded by doubt. The rest of the world might look at my story and think it's just a dream or delusion, but I knew in my heart that it was a true story, a glimpse into a world beyond human understanding. When I felt uncertainty and skepticism, I turned to the unwavering certainty of my faith, a faith that doesn't follow rules and stays strong when things go wrong. People around me may doubt and question my faith, but I stay steadfast in my belief that God guides my every move, a lighthouse of hope in a world that is becoming more and more dark. Dealing with the unpredictable currents of life is easy for me because I have a strong faith that goes beyond human limits and finds comfort in God's kindness. While the road is full of challenges and problems, I have complete faith that God is with me, always by my side as I navigate life's twists and turns. At the end of the day, it doesn't matter if other people believe my story because I know it to be true, proof of the limitless love and kindness that surrounds us all. I keep going forward with unwavering faith and unwavering resolve, knowing that God is always with me, leading and protecting me through life's problems and difficulties.